Hey, hey.
Hey guys,
All
how's it
right.
going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Going good. How about you, Greg?
Does it ever surprise you guys that we somehow can figure this computer thing out nearly every single Wednesday for how long has it been now?
Well, 2 years, really.
Wow.
Almost exactly 2 years, right?
We're on the
Yeah, and
cusp
like,
of
It's about 2 years
Stream
ago.
Team's 2-year anniversary.
We're getting
And
real
some days
wow.
close.
we get on here and it feels like we've never done it at all before. Can't figure out how to click the right buttons and
The,
but
the what is it? The 21st or 22nd is 2 years.
can you believe that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Some of us are getting old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. The
Yeah.
beards
The
are
rest
getting
of us are just
longer.
getting ugly. It just is what it is, I guess. Good to see you guys on here.
You too, man.
Yeah. Yeah. How are things down in your area of Ohio?
Well, it's the most wonderful time of year. It's challenging. There's so much going on with family surrounding the Thanksgiving, rolling into Christmas, rolling into New Year's, rolling into the Bee Expo. There's just a bunch of
Mhm.
I'll say it now. I say it a lot, and if you get tired of hearing it, well, I guess you got what you paid for on tonight's free beekeeping chat, but it's a time of year where it is really hard to get lost. It's super easy to get lost in the holiday sauce. I mean, and what I mean by that is just get so caught up in the things that really aren't what about this season is about, or what Christmas truly is about. And it's a reminder just to take pause and remind yourself why this season is special, and try to pass that
Mhm.
along to the kids, the next generation, and do what you can. It's just too easy to get caught up in all the things, and right now it's a tough time of year for us here at the farm as we prep and get ready for the biggest beekeeping conference that I know of, the North American Honeybee Expo, Louisville, Kentucky, here shortly in January. It's just,
Mhm.
we're thankful to be in a position that we are going to be there and be a vendor, and the stream team will be there, booth 200, to
Mhm.
meet folks and say hi, record some collaborative content, and have our wares and such. But it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot to make all this happen, and it's just I am in a reflective mode, trying to remember why the season's important. So that's why I bring that up. What about you, Bruce? How's things going down in Dothan, Alabama?
Well, it's going okay. Once again, of course, with Christmas around the corner, everybody's excited about that. Our kids, we've got only one, well, two of them. One of them is home for Christmas from college. The other one has moved close by, but two of our kids are still out west, and so in some respect, we're empty nesters in a lot of ways. So it's not quite as busy as it used to be when we had a bunch of kids, but
Mhm.
it is important to keep the reason for this season, at heart, and to just not allow the things of this world to take over this season. And I think that happens so
Mhm.
often with so many of us. It's just so easy to get caught up in the glitz and the glitter. And I think really the purpose for the glitz and the glitter is to turn your eyes towards the light that is available, through the Christmas season. But sometimes
Mhm.
we get caught up in all that, and it becomes more of a commercial thing. I think that happens to a lot of us too much. So just remember the reason for this season, and it is a beautiful time of year. And but as far as what's going
Mhm.
on down here with the bees, if you saw my video that I posted a couple of nights ago, last Friday was not a good day. As far as I knew that I had some issues. The bee inspector told me I had some issues with beetles and those bees up in Ozark, and he was right. It was about what I thought it would be, if not a little bit worse. And so, but we're gonna move. We're gonna plow forward and move ahead. I killed thousands of beetles probably, so hopefully gave the bees an upper
Mhm.
hand. And
Thousands.
thousands of beetles, yes, sir. It was
You
it
need
was
a
worse.
beetle
It was
sucker.
worse. I've never seen it that bad, even in the summertime, is what it was up there. Now I didn't see any larvae.
Mm.
No, no indication that they're reproducing, but there's just a ton of beetles in those colonies. And it's really interesting. I learned something about beetles in the wintertime. If you watch the video, you'll see it. during the summer when it's hot and the bees are really active, they keep them kind of pushed to the outside. They kind of they kind of control them. They keep them moved away from the bees. Beetles really aren't amongst the bees, but during the wintertime, it's a little bit chilly outside. It was like the beetles were down living amongst the bees. You could just see them down there, all in the bees and the cells. And it was just really just crazy. And so, anyway, but we'll see what happens. I just, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I think I gave them the upper hand. Some of them are looking really good, but I did lose a few of the weaker ones, but we'll see what happens up there. So, it was a little bit frustrating, discouraging for sure.
I'm sure we'll get into that. Hive beetles for the holidays. Doesn't that sound nice?
Gosh. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on down here. But the rest of the bees, and I peeked in on some of them there. Their areas, they look really good. I just wonder if I broke them down too hard, too late in the season, and they just haven't had a chance to grow back. Some of them, like I say, look pretty good, but some of them are really, struggled, or I even had a few that didn't make it. So we're going to see what we end up with coming out of winter, and then regroup and just move forward. And I think we'll still have some good strong bees up there. So we'll see what happens.
Good deal.
I was looking here in the comments. It looks like Bob Walker lost his mom.
Yeah.
So Bob, I guess from all of us here at the Stream Team, to you, our thoughts and prayers and condolences are with your family there. Sorry for your loss.
Yes, for
Tough
sure.
time. Yeah, tough time.
Yeah, tough time period, but especially this time of year,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, how are things going in your neck of the woods?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I've been I can say all this loud because I'm the only one in the house, but me having that Christmas spirit, I planned for all the girls to come over on Saturday, and they're all going to make cookies, and my son and I are going to go to Bass Pro Shops and then come back and taste the cookies. So my wife gave me a nice look. She said, "How is it that you plan this and then you get to leave the house and come back and just like eat cookies?" I'm like, "Well, that's like a girl thing." So, and I don't want to intrude on that.
Does Miss Tara know the cross you have to bear as men and leaders of the household, that like what it actually takes to accurately judge the cookies? I mean, we're not just talking about, we're talking about the family generations for millennia to come are going to be passed down these ancient family recipes for cookies.
Yep.
I mean, it is of the utmost importance that us men, we take this right and this honor seriously and make sure that these cookies pass the test.
I'm going to have to make sure, though, that if there's like a designated plate for me, that there's not like X-Lax sprinkled on top of my cookies, though.
Oh, she going to get you.
Yeah. Now, it's been good up here. I mean, we're about ready for Christmas. We're going to have Christmas here, actually. So that's why I kind of suggested the cookies, but I mean, it'll be nice. I mean, we're about ready, for the holiday to be here. It'll be nice just waking up at home, not having to rush around anywhere, just being able to sit and relax and enjoy the time with the kids and the family. And, it'll be good. So, and then shortly after that, I mean, it's going to be like, boom, the New Year's here. And then we'll all be driving to Kentucky. So,
It'll be before we know it. You guys, like, spoiler alert, I was just talking with someone on the phone this week. Like, I don't know if anyone is ready to actually hear this, but do you guys realize that spring beekeeping is only 2 weeks away? What?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what's happening at the end of this month, fellas?
Solstice.
Yeah. And what does that mean from that moment on?
Longer days, bees brooding up.
That's in like 9 days.
Isn't that something?
Is it what? It's the 23rd? Or is it the 22nd?
21st, I think, isn't it?
21st? Let's see if it's on the old calendar.
I mean, it's right around the StreamTeam anniversary. It's the best day of the year.
Look at that. What are we going to do to celebrate that?
Look at that.
Goodness.
It's awesome. Yeah.
We don't have to have some kind of giveaway. Who can we rope in to? Let's see if they'd like to. There's probably a couple like to have some merch or
Right.
some Stream Team folks something cool for a 2-year
Yeah.
anniversary show. I guess would that almost be next week? Is that
Yeah,
Bruce's
that'll be
channel
next week.
The 2-year
it's supposed to be on
anniversary
mine.
show.
It's supposed to be on mine next week, so we'll have fun with it.
That's
Figure
awesome.
something out. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure something out.
Wow.
Bruce, what's your I think about non-beekeeping related stuff more this time of year than beekeeping related stuff. At least I try to, but here's let's do a little Q&A, a little private, just us three. No one's listening, so no one's going to judge you.
Yes.
Bruce, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, Holy Night.
Stop. Okay, which version?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not Silent Night. I'm not sure which version. Are there multiple versions? I mean, I know multiple people sing it, but
So my favorite song is "Oh Holy Night," and when I hear
gosh.
"Oh Holy Night," I think of Pavarotti when he hits up
yeah.
and hits that chorus, and it just is. And then
Man,
Buccelli does a nice version too. Look at
there are
that,
just
Bert.
so
We're
many.
matchy match.
Yeah.
There are just so many good versions of that song. So it's hard to really say one's perfect.
Oh,
or
look
the
at this
best.
one. Look at this one. Homestead Hacks with Tennessee Tim, Mariah Carey. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's go around the room here and do favorite Christmas songs, and then the ones that are just like, oh yeah, are you serious? All right, Brian, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Man, I don't know, because
There's so
I'm
many
one of
good ones.
those. There's so many, but I'm one of those that there's a local radio channel that starting in November, all they play 24/7 Christmas music.
What? Oh, you're
I'm serious. No, from November until I think like the day after or something like that.
Okay, well, that's legit. Yeah.
So my wife pretty much knows that whenever we go anywhere and we take my car, if it's this time of the year, it's Christmas music the entire time. So it's hard, I can't pinpoint just one.
Yeah, it's hard.
Man, it is. And like, as far as movies, I started a couple years ago collecting them all on Blu-ray and DVD. That way, but like the originals.
Don't say Die Hard.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
thank God, because Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Right. I'm talking about like Rudolph and Frosty and the Peanuts and the cartoon version of the Grinch and what is it, the Christmas Story, the one with Dudley Moore, the Santa Claus. But I started collecting all those. So like, as far as movies, it's like movies and music, I can't even pinpoint one. Because
Granny Lisa here says she's match too, Bruce. So it looks like me, you, and Lisa are we vote for "Oh Holy Night," and close second. Mary, did you know that's a good one? I think that was written by Mark Lowry, and I can't think of the other fella there, but that's what we've been listening to. Or I like Southern gospel, so here it's all the Gaither Christmas specials and things. Actually, if you're into Southern gospel and you didn't already know this, if you're watching this tonight, then you're on YouTube. So if you go, there's a Gaither Homecoming channel with a bunch of really cool, just tons and tons of Christmas episodes, Gaither vocal band and all that kind of thing. If that's your speed, then check that out. You might like that. Brian, if you could only take one of those movies to the island of misfit toys to watch for eternity, which Christmas movie would it be? You have to pick, Brian. You can only take one.
Do you know what movie? And I've watched it. It's only on Netflix. I've watched it probably 6 times already this year since they put it back out again.
Okay, give us a hint. All right, let's see if someone can guess it in the comments. So it's on Netflix only.
Only Netflix.
You've watched it 6 times.
And it's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon. I've got some gripes with Netflix and Prime because they're all the Christmas classics are all gone, and now there's all these new levels of pay for stuff, and I'm just being a Grinch. Okay, so all right, give us a hint. Let's see if anyone can guess it.
A hint?
It's a cartoon.
I mean, it's
on
a
Netflix.
story about Santa.
It's on Netflix. Okay. It's about Santa. Christmas Chronicles.
That's not it, but that's another good one. Yeah, that's another good one.
That's the Kurt Russell one, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Cartoon. It's a cartoon with Santa.
It's a cartoon one.
Okay. Yeah. No one's got it. Looks like no one's in. No one. Okay. Give us another hint. Come on, Bruce.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
I'm not sure.
Like the claymation one.
No, the movie Klaus.
Kind of. No, I don't think I know that one.
Have you ever seen that one?
It's like a Stan Gore, Texas from the Beekeepers Christmas Carol.
No,
no, that's not a cartoon, is it?
It's can you show stuff on? Are you allowed to show stuff without it being?
Probably can't have audio, but you could have maybe a screenshot.
Yes, right
Klaus
there. That
Rudolph?
No, it's
not
Klaus.
Rudolph. Really? I've never seen that one.
There's a good story about it. Let me see here.
Look, all right, looks like we got some Terry Chapman, Guardian Bee Apparel.
That's it.
Klaus. The Jared at the Beehive Homestead.
Klaus.
Wow, what's the thumbnail or the thing look like?
So the story in it, there's a guy that works for a postal service, and he's like the spoiled rich kid, and he gets sent off to this, far distant land, and his father's gonna, cut him free of all the money and everything unless he, I think he's got to have like 10,000 letters go through like this new, postal office in a year, and he ends up befriending the guy that becomes Santa Claus. And it's just a good story. There's two rival families, and he brings them all together, and it's just,
Is this an old one or a new one?
No, it's from 2019, and you can't get it on DVD. You can't.
Okay.
It's just there's a good story behind it, So, yeah.
Interesting. Bruce, what about you? Is there a favorite go-to Christmas movie?
Man, there's several. You got the funny ones. You got the.
You can only take one, Bruce. You can only take one to the Island of Misfit Toys.
Okay, I'm going to do a funny one and a serious one. How's that sound?
Two, Bruce. But you're Bruce. We'll let it go. It's Christmas.
Oh gosh, I don't really have a favorite, but I like a lot of them. But I'm just going to say funny. I'm going to say funny. I'm going to say you got to go with Elf, man. You can't go wrong with Elf.
Yeah.
And the serious one is not. It's a short little movie. It's called The Christ Child. It's extremely good. It's one of the best videos I've ever seen about the nativity, and it's just it's incredible. So if you haven't seen that's on YouTube, just called The Christ Child. I think you'll enjoy it. But there's just, like I say, Christmas Carol is another one that's somewhat serious, but it's extremely great message and a great story. So many good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Burns.
One movie, Island of Misfit Toys. That's a no-brainer. It's not Die Hard, because Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I would say it's got to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
For me, it's got to be.
Yeah. I do have that. That is in my DVD collection downstairs. So, yeah.
That's a classic.
Man, we watched the Christmas Carol. We were in Utah. I forgot how funny that darn movie is. My daughter had never seen it.
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Story.
Oh, shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah, with the leg.
Yeah, classic. Lamp leg and all that.
But my daughter had never seen it, and I don't think it's what she expected, but we just thought it never gets old.
I'll tell you guys a story from when I was in grade school, and it was before that movie had even come out. So you can't blame my actions on that movie. But I think I was in
no.
probably like 4th grade. So this would have been like, I don't know, like what, 79 or 80, somewhere in there. A bunch of us kids, and it was wintertime. We ended up talking this one girl into sticking her tongue on a fence post. And I still remember her name to this day, and the principal come out, Mr. Foley, screamed at all of us because it was all boys that talked this girl into doing this. And he just grabbed her and and you see the little red drips going clear back up to the building, But oh man, and then when I saw that movie, I laughed so darn hard. I just
that girl's probably still scarred from life. It's probably just.
the part of her tongue was stuck on the fence.
Golly.
That's Susie. She probably wouldn't be a very proud moment to tell the story. But when her and I were dating, me and one of my brothers were going to go sledding, and so Susie came along with us. And I was always cutting up and being a jokester, and I thought I would do it, and then she would freak out. Oh my gosh, I didn't think it was actually going to work. And so here we are, and I stick my tongue to. It was at Hoover Dam here in Ohio, and there's the guardrails where the dam was at. And of course, what do? I put my big fat tongue right to that thing, and about the second I did that, you automatically felt this cold crisp on your tongue, and it went from this would be cute to oh my gosh. And then you start freaking out, and it is the more you wiggle, the worse it gets. And so here I am with my tongue stuck to the guardrail trying to sled, and I've got Susie and my brother looking at me like, what in the world's going on here? Well, long story short, I left a piece of my tongue on that guardrail. That's a true story, but that's why I talk funny and stutter, because of that. So
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Look, Bruce is like, I don't know what they're doing up in Ohio, but I have no part of this.
Ohio hillbillies, with what it takes to have fun, and what are you gonna do? But yeah. So
yeah.
So Bruce, tell us. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I hear you've got hive beetles for the holidays. What in the world's going on with your hive beetle situation?
An unwanted present this year. Usually down here we battle with the hive beetles typically in the July, August, September range, and by the time October rolls around, they're pretty much gone. You see a few in the hives, but you don't really see infestations in the wintertime. But I went out to Utah for Thanksgiving, and I had noticed when I was going through those bees up in Ozark, I'd seen some in there, but I hadn't really been through them. I've been just trying to get them fed and build them up, and I hadn't spent a lot of time going through the colonies and really looking, and didn't really realize what was going on. And the hive, or the bee inspector, state bee inspector, went out and checked on them. He was pulling some samples for some things the week after Thanksgiving, after we got back, and he said, man, he went to 3 different locations. 2 of them, he said, looked really good, but he said those bees in Ozark, they've got some hive beetle issues. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I figured I better get up there. Well, I wanted to go that weekend, but it just was raining on Friday and Saturday pretty bad. And so I went up this past weekend on Friday up to Ozark. I have Fridays and Saturdays off. Typically I work 4 10-hour days, and man, it was really bad. And so I shot some video footage of that. If you haven't seen it, if you want to see what hive beetle infestations look like in the wintertime, you can see that. And it's just curveball, because typically in the wintertime, it's just not much of a problem. You see a few here or there, but you don't see like thousands of hive beetles. And so I did a lot of the old brush the bees off, tap the beetles onto a flat surface, and smash the beetles with a hive tool. I used my hive tool 5000 to kill the beetles. And so anyway, it was crazy. And I hope I gave the bees an upper hand. I'm going to keep checking on them, peeking in on them. And so I don't know. I tried, the typical things you use, like the beetle blasters, the towels. Those things historically haven't worked very well in the wintertime. And I think I know why. I learned something, and I talked about it in the video a little bit. What I noticed is that the beetles are not in the wintertime, you know, it was in the mid 50s. It wasn't really super cold. It wasn't super hot. I didn't spend a lot of time in the colonies, but instead of the bees pushing the beetles out and trapping them on the edges and up in the up under the lid and down on the bottom board, the beetles were actually amongst the bees in the actual comb, in the cluster, so to speak, right where the bees were. So if you looked at them close, and it was usually just like one frame, even sometimes one side of one frame. So it wasn't like they were all over the place, but it's like the beetles were just all in the comb, and they were just running around in there. And it's almost like they looked like they were part of the colony, because the bees weren't running them out, and the beetles didn't seem to be, you know, at all agitated or trying to get away from the bees. It was just like they were almost living in harmony. It was just really kind of crazy. And so what I did was I ended up just kind of taking I figured out after a little while, if you take the bee brush, gently brush the bees off, you got the beetles exposed, you just take them over to usually a neighboring hive on the lid and just tap them real hard, and like the beetles would fall on there. And then since it was a little bit chilly, they couldn't move as fast as they weren't really flying or moving quickly. So it's pretty easy to go ahead and smash the beetles. But yeah, it was horrible. I know a lot of people saw that, probably a lot of people on here, and I have some people who were a little bit sympathetic with me, some that gave me some suggestions of things to try. But I'm frustrated a little bit, because the typical things, I went ahead and put the towels in there. I usually use the things that usually work, but in the wintertime, they just don't seem to work as well, because I think the beetles are down with the bees. They're not moving up to where the traps are, the towels are. They're just down amongst the bees. And so I haven't had a lot of luck treating for beetles in the wintertime, but I've never really had too much in the wintertime. So it's something that's completely new thing for me. Last week we had the discussion, I think, about the reasons for hive beetles, and we talked about a little bit precursor to me going up there. And I do believe it's a real moist area up there. I think it's real kind of a wet area. It's rained a lot lately. And the truth is, the bees are they're at least partial shade. The trees have grown a little bit since I put the hives up there. And they also, you know, it's just a little bit shady. It hasn't been too much of an issue before. I've always been able to stay on top of it in the summertime, or I've been able to control it, but we'll see what happens. It's been a little bit crazy, but in the other areas, I didn't see an issue like that. I went through several of my other bee yards and peeked in and really didn't see anything at all like that. It was more like normal everywhere else, but for some reason, that one bee yard is just crazy right now.
That's wild. Have you ever seen the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
And what's his name? The main guy, Rick Moranis, right? Yeah. And there's the one thing I can remember of the movie is the video shot where it's him. He's kind of cruising over the lawn looking for the kids. And if I remember right, there's all kinds of like lights and doodads and gadgets hanging over his head. I can just see Bruce with some kind of contraptions. That's the look at Bruce looking down on these hive beetle hives, with suckers and shooters and lasers and things. Just to,
man, I need to figure out something.
What do you think? So is this just occurring in the Ozark yard, or is this all your yards are currently infested?
Here in our area, hive beetles are just something you live with. You see them. Mike Berry talks about, everybody down here in the South sees hive beetles. And typically the bees can control them pretty well. And if they get bad, you can use different treatment methods to kind of eliminate them. And even tapping the beetles, I've done that in the summertime before. It works pretty well. But I just have never had this happen this time of year. And that's the issue. And yes, it was primarily in Ozark. So I did see some in the other bee yards. I peeked in on some of those colonies, but it wasn't like they were in Ozark. They weren't near as many. I mean, literally some of those colonies, Brian, what do you think, had several hundred beetles on one frame? Maybe even 1,000. I don't know. It was just crazy. Like literally when I tap the frame down, you just see beetles. It's basically the whole cover is covered with beetles. Just enough. And so it was just ridiculous. And I'm getting a lot of comments, and they're getting a lot of comments down here from the viewers that saw the video. And it is just nuts. And so I had somebody in Virginia mentioned that they had the exact same problem up there. They've been battling them. And so it's not just me, but for some reason it is that one bee yard in particular over the others. And I've got bees in partial shade in other places. Most of them are mostly in the sun, but right now it's been so cloudy and rainy, I don't think that matters that much. We haven't had a lot of sunlight lately, and it's been a little chilly. And so it hasn't been your typical hot, sunny summer days where, keep the hive beetles down. But up in Ozark, because of the shade is kind of in the edge of the woods, it's just it is really moist up there. It's almost, it just feels more humid and moist up there, especially in the wintertime. And so maybe that's got something to do with it. But I just wonder if maybe the beetles were there, if they had just matured in the last couple of months, you know, because it was pretty hot up until recently. And maybe they just infested the hives, kind of caught me off guard when I wasn't expecting it. Maybe they were just growing and getting ready to infest the hives, you know, during the time when they're normally in there. Didn't see many beetles up there in the summertime. That's why I was totally shocked when I saw how many there were.
Bruce, do you have any commercial beekeeper contacts in your area that you can reach out to and see what they're doing?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that. One thing that one guy here in Alabama is doing, a commercial guy, is he put out Grubex last year, just around, or last couple of years around his colonies. And I did that this year, but I did it late in the season. I'm going to start this year doing it in the early spring and probably apply it 2 or 3 times during the year around the colonies. Also going to throw some salt around the colonies. I think if I can get a hold of some rock salt or whatever kind I need, I think that helps the larvae dropping out of the colonies. And, you know, then of course, just my typical methods. And I think if I get on top of it early, I think I'll be able to control them a little better next year. But this year, I didn't see a lot of beetles this year. It wasn't a bad beetle year, maybe because it was so dry during the time when they usually peak. And so we didn't have a lot of beetles. But man, in this one yard, they've just come back. I've just never seen. It just really. I mean, if you watch the video, you'll see I'm talking about how I'm just stunned at how many beetles there are this time of the year.
Greg, I have
video about it.
I have a video here of, it's just a segment of
video?
No, well, I have a video, and this is just a segment of one of Bruce's hives. Watch
when
this.
People watch this back, they're actually watching a video right now.
Watch this. Look at this. Watch.
Oh, gosh.
Watch this. Look at this. There it is.
Wow. Look at Bruce. I just don't. Wow.
Yeah, that's about what it's like.
I like what you did with the fire there, Bruce. That looks legit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's about what it was like.
That's awesome.
That's probably what the bees felt like in there with all those
I
beetles.
tell you, the Bruce, the most aggressive approach that I've ever heard of. Now, I never had the need to do this. This has been probably the best year for no hive beetles here in Ohio. But I have heard of folks who do just what you just said, rock salt, in between the 4 ways, around the 4 ways, on top of the hive lids. I mean, it's just all over. You're just raining rock salt. The other thing, which I'm not going to recommend that anybody do, I'm not going to recommend that you do, Bruce, but I'm going to throw this out there just for a thought exercise, just to give you something to think about. But I do know that one of the commercial approaches for hive beetles is using corral and applying that carefully to the frame rests. But that is something you have to be extremely, I'm not recommending anybody do that or use that. But from that point, look that up as a reference point. But it's a fly and tick spray. It's a very strong insecticide. But I know commercially in very just damp, dank parts of the country that is used. But
does it not affect the bees?
Well, I mean, too much of something, I'm sure can, but when it's applied very carefully in small quantities at the frame rest areas, you know, the frames are back over top. The bees really aren't in that much contact with it. I'm not saying folks ought to use that, but if you look it up, then maybe you can understand what the component of that is. Stan, it's called corral. It's at every farm or feed store. CRO-RAL. It's used for fly and ticks and things like that too. But so maybe there you go.
That's interesting. The truth is, this time of year though, I've got things I use and some things are, you know, off label slightly or completely, and they're very effective in the summertime. But I'll use the same treatments in the wintertime, and it's like the beetles just laugh at it. They're not attracted to it. Like, for example, I don't know that they go into the beetle blasters in the wintertime. The beetles are down amongst the bees. And that's what I really have never paid, but that's what I learned the other day was you don't see it. You do see some beetles up on the frames, but you don't see them as much. Like in the summertime, if you got a hive beetle infestation, you open that lid up, you see a couple things. You see maybe, I won't say hundreds of beetles on the lid, on the bottom of the lid, or on the top of the frames, over in the corners, you know, and you can sometimes you see larvae even, and that kind of thing up in there a little bit, just a few larvae here or there. But I didn't see many beetles up on. I didn't see hardly any beetles on the bottom of the lids. Saw very few on the top of the frames. There were a few, but the beetles were down amongst. They weren't even. They were kind of off to the side. The stronger colonies, they were off to the side, but in the weaker colonies, they were right down in the middle of the cluster, right in the middle of the bees. And very few beetles in the bottom of the boxes and the bottom boards. They were all. It was just bizarre because I think that's probably one reason. Like I mentioned earlier, that's one reason some of the typical treatments are not as effective in the wintertime, because they're just not going up. They're not up where those treatments would even be.
Right.
And so I went ahead and kind of did my towels and some of my typical stuff, but I don't anticipate being super effective. But I did kill a whole bunch of beetles because, like I said, they're kind of all, the beetles are almost clustered as well. So it's pretty easy to see the beetles. And so you can kind of isolate them and then knock them, whack them. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to call it, Brian talked about the Beetle Sucker 5000 that the bug man has, the bug farmer has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling mine the Hive Tool 5000 because that thing it probably murdered 5,000 beetles on Friday. Maybe not that many, but it wasn't far from it. It seemed like that many.
One more thing to maybe just keep in first, and let me just say for one more time so no one is hearing this out of context. We're not recommending that you use corral. We're just saying that commercial beekeepers do use that. So if you can learn the function of that and why that works, then maybe that can clue you in on what may be appropriate for you in your context. One thing though, I was just thinking about, I can't remember if it actually ended up in one of Bob's videos, or if it was just something that I learned in my time with Bob down at Indian Summer with Chris Warner. But one of the things that Chris Warner was doing is, after an Apogard treatment, was making an essential oil concoction to apply after Apogard, because he felt the Apogard was kind of rough on the bee's exoskeleton. And so they came up with a mixture that helped kind of what they felt soothe that bee's exterior. And then he didn't say he was banking on it, but it also seemed that it actually may have helped with hive beetles. But what it was a mixture of tea tree oil, camphor, eucalyptus mixed in a vegetable oil. And then that mixture was soaked in blue shop towels, and the blue shop towels are cut into little, rectangles that are then put on the colony. Now, after I learned that trick, we were, just fighting terribly with hive beetles. So I did the same thing. I came home and we actually applied that to a lot of our colonies. And where we were having the most of hive beetles were kind of in like double or triple 5-frame nukes that were stacked up, and the hive beetles were always in the very top of there running around, creating havoc. And so we put those blue shop towels on there. I really do feel like I did see a knockback in hive beetles. So the reason I say all that is, if you're using camphor, tea tree oil, and eucalyptus, I don't wonder if you could put some peppermint oil in that mixture as well. Mix that with the vegetable oil, and maybe even add something like maybe a soy lecithin or something to help bind the oils together. Then mix that into the blue shop towels, put the blue shop towels on top, and see if that doesn't help with maybe warding off some of those hive beetles. But the hard part is, there's not like, okay, here is an effective and approved small hive beetle product that you can put on there. And there's all the things, and I don't want to say, if I say gimmicks, then it means I'm talking poorly, but there are so many gizmos and gadgets and all these things that by the time you spend the money on it and try it and it doesn't work, you're thinking, well, here we are back to square one. Sometimes simpler is better. But anyway, just another thing to think about if you're fighting.
One thing I think I hear Lisa and Lee talking about the triazicide in the ground around the hives, and stuff to kill the grubs or the larvae. I think that's basically an insecticide. I think that's okay maybe on the ground, but if this gets in the colony, that is a pesticide. The Grobex is an entirely different chemical makeup, and I know that they've been doing some testing at the University of Georgia using that in pollen patties and stuff. So the Grobex, I think, is possibly a little safer if the bees are going to be exposed to it, but I don't know. None of these things are on label to treat bees, but anything I think when the larvae are active that will kill those larvae in the ground is a good thing to use. But I'm still learning. I've got these tricks I use that I've been able to overcome the beetles in the past, and it's a new thing I got to learn. And so I do think I killed, anyone that watched the video knows I killed a whole bunch of hive beetles.
Yeah.
And I didn't show every hive. I mean, I showed several, but just multiply that times probably double or triple how many you saw in the video, and that's what I actually did. So I did do some damage to them, and I'll be checking on them. I think I hopefully gave the bees the upper hand. Some people have mentioned, I think Stangor mentioned maybe decreasing hive size. That would be a good thing to do. It's just a time thing. Getting up there and doing all that and managing all that equipment is difficult. And frankly, a lot of the colonies are just fine. They're going to be okay. There were probably left. I did have a few dead outs. Probably left. There's probably 2 or 3 that are really just probably not going to make it. But most of the red ones that are left, I think, are going to be okay, and they're strong enough. And so we're going to have some really nice colonies coming out of that bee yard in the spring. It's just not going to be anywhere near what I thought I was going to have. And Greg, most of your queens are doing fine. They look pretty good. In the video, you'll see that they're looking pretty good. And so, it was frustrating. I thought I would show that. On my channel, I show a lot of good, but I also will show things like this that I've never seen that kind of stump me. And first of all, I do it to show people what's possible. Number 2, so I can maybe get ideas from you as to what to do. But I do want to say that's real beekeeping. I mean, sometimes curveballs get thrown at you. Things I've been doing it 10 years and never seen that in the wintertime. And so you can't just quit or lay down and get discouraged when something goes wrong like that. And you can see things that you don't read about in books that aren't supposed to happen. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're dealing with it. And so that's just part of beekeeping, real beekeeping. Most people that have bees in the chat understand that. But anyway, so I just thought I would share that. I thought you people would find that interesting, and I appreciate all the comments. I've had a lot of comments on there, and really everyone's been positive. Everyone's, for the most part, been willing to offer suggestions or commiserate with me. So it's been a.
You're not getting any. Are you getting any comments, Bruce? Anyone saying, Bruce, how dare you? Mommy and Daddy Hive Beetle went off for work and they came home and little Hive Beetle Junior with no parents. How dare you kill them?
A couple of people have said, "Is it bad that looks really cool, or that's satisfying to kill hive beetles?" I'm like, "Is that bad?" They say. I'm like, "No," because it is kind of satisfying to smash them anyway. But yeah, I haven't had anybody that has sympathized with the beetles that I know of, not at this point in time.
No.
Anyway, so that's probably enough on the hive beetles. It's just a weird thing to even talk about in the wintertime. It's never been an issue for me before.
Brian, anything interesting in your holiday stocking as you've been out in the bee yards? Anything interesting or exciting? Like, look at you, every small hive life matters. Oh man, at least they're not like stink bugs that stink terribly when you squash them or snag them. Yeah. Or what's even worse is you get those orange ladybugs. Man, them things smell terrible. They get into just at least hive beetles are just crunch.
Yeah.
Crunch.
My colonies, the 13 I still have left, they're all still there. I need to get over, and I went the other day just to check on the fondant, how they were doing. And there's only like 2 of them, I think, that you can't see like through the top. Like they're working on it and they have almost that circle chewed through, but they're not quite there. I had one that I had to adjust because with those insulated inners, because it's that foam that's in there, probably about 200 bees had gotten up on top and died. So, I had a little bit of a mess there, just had to get the fondant position right. But I've got, I think it's both of the colonies that are out here at the farm. They have taken, no lie, like a 6-inch circle out of that fondant already.
Isn't that crazy?
Just like, when I lifted the lid up, I just took a look and I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, they'll probably easily go through two of those fondant patties through the winter. So
can we just go on record? I know I've been saying it for years, but there's no greater proof than that. not that I need proof to justify my thought on this, but for years
Yeah.
I've been saying that we need to we all need to stop calling it emergency feeding. We should refer to it as insurance feeding, because when you
Yeah.
put that on there, you're ensuring that the colony has enough to eat. And when they're choosing to go to something like that fondant first, leaving the honey in reserves, that makes such an enormous difference coming out of the spring, because now as they brood up and want to start building, now they've got some of the honey and things on demand, ready to go, ready to rock and roll.
Right.
And I've seen, not only have we seen gains with the health of the bees coming off of the Hive Alive fondant because of the thymol, I think, and the other things that are in there too.
Yeah.
Right. They're able to just explode, it seems like, in the spring. They're already a little healthier, but then they have reserves still left. They still have honey in stores. I think that's a big deal. That it's a
Yep.
different way of kind of going about that. Usually folks will wait until the honey's gone or too late in end of January, February to start as an emergency source, start putting on dry sugar and making sugar cakes and sugar bricks and fondants and all these kind of things. And but if you think about doing it the other way around, it creates a cheap insurance policy.
Yep.
So, but
This
I tell you
is
that live's been crazy this year.
Yep. This is the third winter now where I'll use that stuff. And last year, now the first winter I didn't put it on quite as early, but last year it was Thanksgiving. And it was just, that's part of my routine. Thanksgiving, the fondant goes on. And I mean, they just devour it, you know. And I started saying last year, it's almost like they've got, you know, they've got two different meals sitting there. They got the meal that, you know, well, it's the dinner, and then they've got the ice cream over there, and they just devour it, you know. And it's fine, because if they're taking that fondant, like you said, and then come spring when they need all of those stores to grow, they have it. So
it's actually, think about that for just a second though, right? When we put something, if you like Hive Alive fondant, if I wasn't using Hive Alive fondant, absolutely, and for me here, I would absolutely not be using Mountain Camp. I wouldn't be fooling around making, personally for me, sugar cakes or trying to make those things. I would be either using the Hive Alive fondant, or the other one that I would definitely consider using is our buddy Stan Gore's soft sugar bricks. Not only does that help go back to a good cause for Hives for Heroes, but I think what I really do feel like the texture of that food is really important at that time of year, because they don't have to go through, those bees don't have to go through a dry or a granulated sugar to try to metabolize that, when they can go to something like the Hive Alive. Or I'm assuming we ought to have Stan on sometime to talk about his soft bricks, not how he makes it, but what he feels that maybe the key features are of it. That softer format, I think that especially if it does have something like an inverted syrup in it, I think they can immediately metabolize that and use that as a carbohydrate source, rather than burning any extra energy trying to metabolize it to get it into good use. So I think that's where those fondants that already have the inverted sugar, I think, shine, because they go right to it. And if you think about it, you know, if you look at the bees' nutritional needs in the wintertime versus that late winter, early spring buildup, I would rather the bees be eating something that is just giving them carbohydrates so they can sustain, they can keep warm, and they've got enough of that going on, and then use anything left in the nutritive value of the honey that's left as late in the season as possible, as they do start to brood back up and have more mouths to feed. To me, that makes sense. And that's, I think it's a, you know, this, I mean, no matter what you do, it's an input, either time, even if you're mixing your own sugar cakes or bricks or fondants, you have time invested into it. But I think it's well worth it when you look at it as a cheap insurance policy, whatever the cost is, rather than trying to course correct too late in the season. You're not even giving them something they can most of the time metabolize fast enough to actually be utilized in an emergency situation. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the. I've got some of the Super DFM fondant as well, with the Apis Biologics in it. The it's rocket fuel. I've got both. I've got the Hive Alive, and I also have that. So I don't know really what the advantage is to using them different times of the year. Obviously, they're both fondant, so I don't know. What do you think, Greg? You've got a little bit of both, don't you, as well? If
I've
you have
used
some of that to
both.
sample and
I've used a
try.
pretty good amount of both. I think they're two completely different products, and so I think the strong microbials fondant has an advantage is just because outside of the apis, right? Um, when I look at where that's beneficial, is not so much the apis biologics as it is the probiotics. And so for me, where I'm thinking, where is the probiotic going to be have the biggest impact for the bees? It's not necessarily going to be throughout the winter with high viral loads, right?
Late
Because
winter.
the bees are already going to have the viral load. They're already going to they're already going to have that virus that was injected and a part of their biology way before now, right? So giving them a probiotic now, I'm not sure how much help that's going to be. However, late winter, going into spring, as they're brooding, creating new fresh rounds of brood, and now once those bees are going to be exposed, what is out there in the wintertime that the bees are going to get into where they would really benefit from a probiotic?
Yeah.
There's not much, but coming out of the winter going into spring, when folks are using pre-emergents and things like that, then I think that has a greater impact. So for me, I would choose, if you wanted to use both products, I think the thymol and the nutritional aspect of the Hive Alive makes more sense over the winter time. And then late winter going into spring, if you wanted to give them a digestible and edible probiotic, then having the probiotic in the fondant at the time of year where they would actually eat it makes sense. But if you wait too long and try to give them the fondant that has the probiotic in it during times where they're actually foraging heavily, a lot of times they'll just completely ignore it. Whereas the powdered version of the probiotic sprinkled on the frames, or if you blast it in the entrance with an air compressor, now they're going all through it, digging it out and consuming it. So I think it's two separate products, two separate uses. Both are extremely beneficial, but it's apples and oranges.
It's also very important to recognize two different areas. You know, down here, we're literally, Mike Berry I can't remember if he texted me or what, but we are literally probably 5 weeks away from, honestly, having to start our spring beekeeping here. Mid-January, even early to mid-January, the red maples are starting to bloom, and things are just ramping up. And so, like you say, when that solstice hits, we do have a little bit of cold weather, but honestly, in January is when the bees, you really start to see them just kind of take off here. And so, whereas we might use the probiotic fondant a little bit earlier here than you guys would up there, obviously, because of the temperature, the weather, and so forth. Yeah, Mike Berry says mid-January, rotate boxes and get pollen on. I mean, it literally starts. We are first. Actually, one of my commercial guy, I know that commercial beekeeper down in Florida told me years ago. He said, like, they have a super busy, obviously, bee season throughout the spring and summer, but they don't do much with the bees at all in the fall. But when January 1 hits down there, it's game on. That's when they're starting to really work their bees. Now, I think they probably working a little earlier now because they do a lot of the almond pollination stuff because you have to start working them earlier. But back then, I'm not sure that was as big of a deal. And, he just said they don't, they would January 1, they hit the ground running. And that's from that point on is you're going full speed with the bees. And that's just about it, very, very, not very far south of us here. And so it's true. I mean, we only have till the end of this month or till mid-January where we can even rest on our laurels at all here. And then it's just, let's go. Let's get after it. Spirit of Toad, Eric says 5 to 6 weeks. And that is true. So
I would almost, if you are going to use the DFM, those patties that have the rocket fuel, I would almost like mid to like second or third week of January.
That's what I'm going to do.
I mean, that would be
get back from Hive, get back from the conference, and I'll probably put them out. I got a whole box of them, a sample box of them that they sent me, and I'm going to try them out and see. But I'm also going to get Hive Alive. I know Hive Alive has saved several colonies for me over the last couple of years. And I didn't use it on every colony, but the ones I did use it on, it seemed to really help me get through. And so anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Always, whenever you guys are on here and our great comments, it's always a great, our viewers, it's a great experience for us.
Hale, you know what? When I see Hale hives, I think of Paul Hale. And you know what I think of every single time? I think of those phenomenal, probably the best honey presentation that I think I've ever seen.
The bottle.
Because you're just not expecting it. Where it's a wine bottle full of honey. I mean, that is top shelf.
Yeah, he's asking about if I was sprinkling. Yes, I was, Paul. I was sprinkling that on there. I just figured it couldn't hurt. The bees are just seem to be struggling, and so I don't know. I just thought, why not just put some super DFM just up there in those? Well, I don't see how it could hurt. I know that Strong Microbials recommends you use it once a month when you're in the colonies, and so that's kind of what I'm doing. I think if I run into a problem, if we got a lot of crops and stuff going in, a lot of spraying going on, I'll definitely ramp it up a little bit. But I just couldn't see how it could hurt to put it in there, and the bees were jumping on it. They love it. Like the bees immediately start taking that stuff down. They really like this. There's something about the way it's produced that the bees really like the DFM for sure.
And they're not going in like a frantic, let's dig trash out. They're going into, what
they're
is
eating
this?
it. Yeah, they start licking it up. I mean, they're that little proboscis goes in and it just starts consuming it immediately. They jump right on it.
Yep. Let's see. You got a question from B-Man Trapper Greg. Has Nature's Image Farm received the Hive Alive patties yet? I just got an email today from Liam, which is he's over in Ireland. Looks like my video is going out. Can you hear me?
We got you.
I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, the Hive Alive is now at their warehouse here stateside, and so that's either going to get trucked here or I'm going to go pick it up to get it. But sometimes it takes a little while for those containers to get all the way from Ireland back here stateside, and then actually trucked and get all that. If you've been paying attention, if you really, it's very nearly impossible to get the Hive Alive fondant. We were lucky enough to have our order in early enough where we've had it on hand and then had it available as pre-order. So if you have a pre-order in with us for Hive Alive first, we thank you for your business. Second, we will be shipping that out literally as soon as that hits the shop here. We'll be printing labels. You'll get an email notification with tracking number, and you'll have it right away. So I would expect that we should have that in hand. I would say no later than probably Monday, Tuesday at the very latest. So by the end of next week, those orders will be fulfilled. But it is a lot of folks are seeing the value, and it's one thing for us to talk about it and say, hey, we think we're seeing results with this. It's something altogether when the community at large is doing the same thing. They're seeing results, and then as a result, is the supply and demand kicks in, and it gets hard for folks to try to get a hold of it. So it's good stuff. It works, but there's a lot of great products out there. That's one of them, and the Pro DFM, the Super DFM is another one, Bruce, that I think makes a lot of sense. So,
hey, I'm gonna grab some. I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I think here. I think. Look at this. Everybody's cameras are out. I might as well. Here we go. Hang on.
Listen to this beep of death.
Here we go.
I don't know if you heard that, Brian.
I didn't hear it.
I'm not sure. We've been having so many troubles with with the Starlink internet here. I never really noticed it because on my screen everything looks fine, but apparently for folks when they're watching this back, it's like a Japanese subtitle movie where like my audio is trailing behind the video. I've never really noticed that before. So
we're gonna have to nickname you Godzilla.
If anyone knows what's up with that and how to fix that, let me know. I think it's some kind of a latency issue with satellite internet, but it is. We're happy to be able to stream at all because it wasn't that long ago where we couldn't do any of that because of the connection. So I'm gonna try to kickstart the stuff here again.
I think
GoPro too.
What was that?
It could just be this GoPro, the bane of my existence.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think the Strong Microbials, I think set aside from what I have ordered already, I think that's probably one of the other products that I'm going to go home with. So.
Yeah, I think that's money. Oh, you know what it is, Brian?
Oh.
Got a little something here.
What did
Any
you?
guesses as to what it is?
Yeah, I've got one here too. Let's see.
It's one of, well, he told me it was one of 5 that were in the country at the time. So
Wow.
let me show
I
you
want
what
to
it
see
is.
it.
I mean, I bought it, but I asked him because I wanted to try it out. So I'll show you.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Well, I haven't opened it yet, so we're going to see what it looks like. I mean, I know what it looks like, but I haven't actually.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Bruce? Is it giveaway time, Bruce? Santa,
We're not giving this thing away.
Is this a giveaway?
It is called the Instant Vape Compact.
Yeah.
Look at that bad boy. Isn't that pretty?
Isn't that nice? Look at that.
Wow.
Man, that is pretty cool. So I'm gonna actually. I told Rob, I'm probably gonna do it. He's asking if I think he wants someone to kind of do a video where they can see kind of how it works in person, and so I'm gonna actually use it this weekend.
Hold that thing back up. Yeah, look at that.
Man, it is heavy duty too. It is pretty impressive.
I like the front of that thing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But it's much smaller. I think it also has a, for those who may not be familiar with the instant vape, I've got one of those and it's great. I use it all the time. I've treated hundreds of colonies with it, if not thousands, probably just hundreds, maybe not thousands. But this is the newest design, and Rod gave me a pretty good deal on it. I did purchase it, but he gave me a pretty good deal on it. But it, same thing. It's run off of batteries. I got the DeWalt set up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just smaller. It's more compact. That's why it's called the compact. It also has a light back here. So I don't know if the light changes colors or flips on or how that works, but it doesn't actually, you don't have to watch the temperature. The light just lets you know when it's actually treated. So we're not spinning any wheel on this thing. That is not a cheap piece of equipment right there. But anyway, so if you just be looking for a video for me, assuming the weather is good this weekend and I can treat, I plan on trying that thing out and kind of comparing the different vaporizers to see how it works. But I thought I'd share that with you. I got it about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just haven't used it yet. So anyway, Greg, did you see it? I know you're having video issues, but anyway, it's pretty darn nice.
Nice.
I see Walter asking about how many colonies can you treat this single battery. With my other instant vape, I've got the 6 amp hour batteries, and I can usually treat around 20-25 at 4 grams with the 6 amp hour DeWalt battery. But I just spent a lot of money and bought 2 9 amp hour batteries. So those things they're not cheap, but I'll be able to do a lot of colonies. I have 4 of the 6 amp hour, but I can't find one of them. I somehow set one down somewhere. I can't find it. So, but I'll have 2 9 amp hours and then 3 6 amp hours if I find my other one 4. So that ought to be enough to get through all my colonies at this point in time. So anyway,
If anyone's interested in pre-ordering an Instant Vap Compact, go to lorobbies.com. Rob has those on sale. I think they're $400 on sale for the conference. So if you're going to the North American Honeybee Expo and you'd like to have your very own Instant Vap Compact, lorobbies.com, check it out. You can hit that pre-order and pick up there at the conference. After the conference, that product is debuting at the conference. After the conference, we'll have them here at the shop and online too. They're great little units. They're a little bit smaller. They're a little quicker, and if you don't need like the voltage meter and some of the panel functions on there, this is a great unit. Slap your battery in, turn it on, go to town, and it's nice.
The handle's also attached in the front and the back, which I don't mind. The other one, it's not attached in the back. It's fine with me, but this one is really, it just feels to me, the other one is super heavy duty and this one feels almost more heavy duty. I mean, it's just really a good looking little unit. So
yeah.
Anyway, you can, and I'll put a link on my video as well. It'll be like an affiliate link. You can go check it out on the video as well. But I plan on getting that video out, assuming everything cooperates, the weather cooperates, and I'm able to do it this weekend. Hopefully sometime early next week, I'll be dropping the video on that. And it will be, like Greg said, they're debuting it at the conference. And so I just think Rob wanted me to do a video actually treating some hives so people can see how it actually works, treating bees. He's got a video, I think, where he just pops it down and you can see it working. But I think he asked if I would do that for him. And so I plan to do that. But anyway,
Nice.
thought I'd share that with you. A little show and tell.
Awesome.
All right, Bruce. What's the hashtags for folks to win that bad boy?
There is no hashtag unless Rob gets on here and says he'll donate one to us.
No, I'm just kidding. How about a giveaway though? You guys want to give away something?
Gosh, man, I don't have anything to give away.
I might have something. What do you have, Brian? You have something you want to give away?
I got the hashtag right there.
Oh man, why do you have a dot in there? Is that dot for a space?
Yeah, it's got to be all together.
I've got something here. It is a very unique offering. Not a lot of folks have one of these. You guys don't even have one of these yet.
Wow.
So one of the lucky listeners or viewers may be able to have this before you guys even get this. We will have these at our booth to check out. You guys ready? So we got to figure out what a not that desperate for free stuff. There it is. Hashtag. I'm slow. I can't even read that many words or letters. Okay, so how about this? All right, so here I'll show you this. So here it is. It's that time of year. Who doesn't love a good? You know what? Ian needs one of these. Ian, send me your address. I think you need this for your Kraken. Okay, you ready? On one side.
Oh,
there it is.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Look at that. A StreamTeam coffee cup on one side.
Nice.
On the other, it has the very limited Lighthouse logo.
Oh, wow.
On the other side. So it's got the Lighthouse, Be the Lighthouse, Nature's Image Farm on the one side.
Nice.
And then StreamTeam on the other. Got to represent. Wow. So let's maybe should the hashtag
those are few and far between. Better jump on that one.
Yep. So, what do you think? What should the hashtag be on there?
I don't know.
Just hashtag mug.
Mug. There it is. Hashtag mug. Brian, do you know how to do the spin the wheel thing? I know you're out of practice on something like that.
What? I mean, what do you mean? Do I know how?
Look at this guy, man. Look, he's really earning his keep tonight.
Wow.
That's cool.
You know, that instant vape there, for those that are on that are going to be at the conference, today's date is the 13th. So we've got how many days before the conference now are we at?
Oh,
not 3 weeks.
Not many.
Not enough.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, if I break 5,000 subs, I'm going to give away one of those at the conference. You got to be at the conference.
One of those instant vapes, the instant vape compact.
Yeah.
Are you serious, folks?
And if we do it live, what I'm going to do is literally just walk right over to Rob's booth and
just pay for it.
And right, I'm just going to. All I'm going to be is a person that swipes the card. And,
swipe or no swiping.
But the reason why I want to do it there is just because of the different batteries. I don't know, like I don't want to buy one.
Batteries people want, yeah.
Right. Like I have Makita, but I don't want to buy one that's Makita and then have someone have Milwaukee or DeWalt or whatever. It wouldn't do them any good. So
Sure.
But yeah, that's my plan is, and I'm 100 away right now.
So look, if I get 100 different accounts and get you up there, you'll give one away, huh? That would be crazy, but
that's funny.
You're 100 away, man. That's close. Gosh, we got to get you there. We got to. Where
do you? Shows you how oblivious I am to these things. How you're 100 away from what?
5K.
And that's subscriber counts.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm at 4.9 now. Yeah, I am. Yeah, 4.9. Yeah.
Come on. If you're listening to this video or listening, I guess you could listen. If you're listening or watching.
Yeah, you could listen.
If you're driving, hopefully you're just listening and not watching and listening.
Right.
But if you're checking this video out, make sure you go right down to Brian's channel and hit subscribe. I mean, why not?
Yeah. But and that's probably going to take place, I would imagine. Well, probably sooner than later in the conference.
I bet you'll hit.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Tell you exactly how many subs he gets every single day. Probably through the analytics there on the.
Look
Steve Amos.
Steve. I have 10
I have at least
emails.
10. Yeah, way to go, Steve. Look at Steve is in it to win it. That's the team spirit.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking probably on a Friday, because I know those things are probably going to be a hot item, and if it does take place, like, you know,
That's
if
awesome
I break
gift.
5K on the Saturday, it's not going to happen because I'm
So
not
we
going
got
to
to do
worry
some
about it
kind
by
of
that
a
point.
okay. So here, let's kick it up a notch. So, for the lucky winner, you can come join us at the StreamTeam, the Nature's Image StreamTeam booth, to actually get the compact right there in front of everybody. It's going to be an incredible booth. It's booth number 200. I mean, we're smack dab right in the front of the place. When you open up the doors and walk
Yeah,
in, you're going to be looking at us, ugly mugs, pun
yeah,
intended. And we're going to,
I
so the
see.
Nature's Image Farm and
Right
Lorobi's
there.
booth it's going to be a walkthrough interactive kind of a booth with the podcast studio front and center. We're going to be right across from our buddies at Premier Bee Products. We're going to be at a corner like we always are from our pals at Hives for Heroes. Jason Crook and Brian
Yeah,
with Queen Right Dial will be just down the aisle. They're a little ways. So it's going to be that vibe and energy that we've seemed to create in the corners of the conference where it's all these folks together. It's going to be the same thing again this year, right smack dab, right up front. So we'll be at booth number 200. Be sure to check it out. Be sure to stop by, say hi to the stream team. And I'm going to throw this out there because we'll sometimes forget. But if you are a content creator, if you've got a podcast, if you've got a YouTube channel, or even if you just want to just shoot a little fun video, we are excited and would love to cross collaborate. So if you want to come out, take a little cross collab video, or take a video or whatever, be sure to stop by the booth, say hi. We would love to meet you, shake your hand. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be exciting, and we're only like how many days away?
3 weeks.
Whew.
Yeah, I'm going to spin this thing.
Spin that wheel, Brian. Wheel of Fortune.
Who is it? Who is it? Why don't you be like Stan?
Oh,
Ken.
Kenny Bach. Okay, cool. Kenny, I know you, but you can go to our website, naturesimagefarm.com, click on the contact us, shoot me an email, and we'll get this mug shipped out for you. If you're in the state of Ohio, or I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that because we have folks have driven halfway across the country to pick up packages and nukes and things like that. But if you are looking for package bees, we'd love to earn your business. Go to naturesimagefarm.com. We've got 3 pickup dates for packages. Get more for your bees. We know we don't just sell you the bees. We are here to walk folks through the entire season, hands-on, here at the Learning Yard every other Saturday. If you buy your packages or you're a nukes with us, you're automatically enrolled to the Learning Yard, where we're every other Saturday walking you through the entire season, whether you're a first-year beekeeper or a 10-year beekeeper. Not only is there something to learn, but the community here at Nature's Image Farm is awesome. That's really, the bees are the conduit to the people. We have so much fun. The fellowship, the friendships. It's an awesome time. If you didn't buy your packages or your nukes from us, but you are a military veteran or a first responder, we'd love to have you too, no charge. Just go to our website, click on the Learning Yard link, shoot us a message, and we'd love to have you, no charge. It's a way that we can serve those that serve us, helping folks along, doing what we can to be a lighthouse to others. That's what we're about. So again, if you're interested in packages or nukes, queens, or supplies, naturesimagefarm.com, and we'd love to earn your business. Okay, got it right there.
They're coming at you, Bruce. Yeah, no, good stuff. I can't wait. I mean, yeah, it's 3 weeks, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, and hopefully, I know the schedule was just released, and that just, I picked out. There's two that I definitely want to listen to. other than that, I'm going to listen to them on replay. But afterwards, I think Cayman said 45 days afterwards, he's going to have the video for everyone. So I'm just going to enjoy the time, like spending the time with you guys and just meeting everybody there. That'll be, to me, that's worth more. I can always sit on my couch and watch the video afterwards, but to have the time where I can sit there and shake people's hands and meet everybody there, that's worth more to me. So
Yeah, that's the fun part is be able to interact and shake someone's hand and put a face to the name. I guess, fellas, we're going to have to. I guess this is kind of like internal housekeeping that we probably don't need to talk about here and bore people with. But I tell you what would be cool is if we put out some sort of a StreamTeam schedule for the conference that the three of us will be there at the booth at these times, and we'll shoot video and maybe bring some folks into the conversation. It's one of those extremely chaotic, just intense periods of time that it's so fun. It's one of those things where it's we all have a different appreciation for it. Some folks, I think it's a family reunion. For me, it's like a homecoming. It feels like where the whole family is, everyone's coming home, where it's a big deal. There is so much goodness and positive folks. A lot of folks who share the same values in life. It's just a fun time to get together and have that old-fashioned homecoming. It's almost like a bee revival. It seems it's just it's an awesome time. Definitely looking forward to that. Guys, we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Do we have? We've got thank Kenny Bach for his $10 super chat, and Bruce, thanks for the super chat. There's one question in here, and I know the fellow, so I want to make sure we get that one in there. And Randy Reed, Trails in Farms, asks, what is the best power source for a corded Lorob OA vaporizer? I am on my 4th heater band using a Honda generator. So Randy, what I'd recommend you do is reach out to Rob at Lorob's. I'm sure what he'll tell you is that on all the generator outputs, he has those vaporizers dialed in so tight to be able to create the amount of output power needed to have quick cycles on those units. That what you might find is if the output power of your generator, if that line's not conditioned, it might be spiking to and fro. That could be causing problems on your vaporizer. So you might look into either a line conditioner to help regulate that output voltage before it hits your vaporizer. That would probably help tremendously. But if you don't know how to get a hold of Rob, Randy, shoot me a message and I'll put you in touch. But he'll have a lot more nuanced, detailed information regarding that. So hope that helps. If anyone has any last questions before we start to wind it up, we're kind of going into overtime, it seems.
Yeah.
For my Lorob's batteries, I use a marine battery that you can recharge. And then what is it they use to plug into that? I can't think of what it's called. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting Alzheimer's. What is it that you put on a battery that allows you to plug it into the battery? Inverter.
An inverter.
Yeah, inverter. I actually use a inverter I got at Harbor Freight, and just a pretty strong marine battery, and it works great. And then I just recharge that battery up, and it'll last for quite a few hives, 30 or 40 probably, with the marine battery that I have. If you go back and look at some of my older Lorob's videos I did a couple of years ago, you can see exactly what my setup was as far as the power source. And then, if the battery runs dead, if you need a little bit more time, you can just crank your car up and just hook that inverter up to your car battery as well. You don't want to
They're not that expensive either. I think
they're not bad at all. Not bad at all. No, not bad.
I mean, you're driving. Well, see, I shouldn't say that. I guess for me, I was always driving into a bee yard, so I already had a vehicle. Early on, when I was using the vaporizers, I would just use the alligator clips and like a 500-watt Coleman inverter, and just plug it right into that. And yeah, you had to have the truck on, but and then when the truck, then now on the dashboards, all the trucks, it seems like are already in onboard inverters. Just that seems to be the go-to clean power. It's converted over. without having to haul a generator and fuel and all that, and have the kind of spikes to go up and down, so yeah, there's always more than one way to pluck the chicken.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, gentlemen, Bruce, what do you got in the next week?
I'm just going to get out. I've got one bee yard. It started raining on me. It's been raining so much down here lately. I don't know if you guys have heard of API insurance. It's a drought insurance you can get for livestock and bees. And so I've got that for next year, and it'll probably be the most rain we've ever had. So, but anyway, but yeah, it's been raining like crazy, but I've been able to get out there, and like Friday, I was able to check on should I call it my Hive Beetle yard up there in Ozark? I was able to check on those, but Saturday I went down to try, and it started raining on me. I was about done. I'd have one more spot to check on. So I'm just kind of cracking lids, checking on them. I'm going to actually hit all my bees. My goal is to hit all of them with oxalic acid vapor. Right now is the time. There is still some brood in some of the colonies, but it's at its lowest point. And so if you're going to use OAV, this is the best time to do it here on the, if it's warm, if the temperature is okay. It's just, we go from cold to hot to cold, like constantly down here. But that's kind of what my plans are. And, going to kind of start treating with oxalic acid vapor, just peek in and just kind of monitor and check weight. And it's kind of, we're in a holding pattern here for about the next month. And then it's going to be game on again for the spring. I go in the spring. I do want to start making some of my own queens. I'm going to identify a few hives. I really like the genetics. I like the attitude and their productivity. I'm going to start trying to make a few queens next year and just improve my situation, utilizing some of the, hopefully if we've got some of the stronger Michael Palmer queens, some of your queens, Greg, up in Ozark. And then I've got one or two colonies. I've got one down in Slocum that is just an incredible hive, super attitude, and they're really strong bees. And so I'm going to maybe try and get some queens out of them as well. So that's kind of my goal moving forward into 2024, to, instead of spending so much money on queens, maybe start creating some of my own. But this week, just holding pattern, check weight, make sure they got weight on them, clean up any dead outs I have, and treat for oxalic acid vapor. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Brian, what are you up to this week?
I'm going to go, and I know the only thing I'm going to do with the bees is I'm just going to check on their fauna. I want to, that one colony that is sneaking up underneath, I have an idea in mind on how I can correct that situation. So it'll be an easy fix. And, I'll do a video. I mean, I haven't had much that I could video. So I'm going to do a video just through there and just check a couple things. But I mean, like, we're in that holding pattern now. I mean, they're wrapped up. I'm not cracking any boxes. I'm not doing anything. So just checking on feed, and, beyond that, it'll be get ready for the holidays and get ready to see everybody down in Kentucky.
Won't be long, will it?
Yeah. What's happening down in Nature's Image farmland?
Well, I just keep telling myself it's the most wonderful time of year. It's the most wonderful. The main thing is mindset, making sure we're recognizing the reason for the season while we're working through the mountains of things to do here. This is the time of year where you've got to be mentally, physically, and spiritually on point, because if you let any of those suffer and slack, it affects all other areas of life. And this is the time of year where there's just the strategy for the following year. And I mean, we're already so deep into that now. We're making all the moves and all the planning and all of the orchestration is already going on. So you've got to be on point. So we're just trying to make sure that we are staying clear-headed and keeping the direction moving forward with those things. We are, just in nothing but box building and dipping mode, getting all the orders ready for the expo. It'll be exciting for us because we'll be taking a semi-load of equipment down this year. So it's we're growing, and it's going through the growing pains of trying to figure all that out. But we are so grateful and thankful for the opportunity, and that the business is being blessed and is growing. So that's what we're working through right now. If that wasn't enough to keep you up at night, there's the actual bees that are out here that it's not quite done yet. So we've got fondant that needs to be placed on a lot of them. The other thing is like Bruce, we have an Instant Vap compact here to put through the paces and try to capture some video and be able to share with folks how this fits into our management, and maybe what are some of the differences between this and the Instant Vap. But at the end of the day, I think you've got 3 really solid choices depending on your budget, your context, and your scale. It can be a corded AC unit, the standard Lorobi's unit. You've got the full-blown Instant Vap, which has all the VU meter and the little larger unit. And now there's the new compact Instant Vap, which gives you a little bit more flexibility, I think, in size and shape. But also, I think what it can actually do is quite impressive. And it comes in at a little bit lower price point. So I think a lot more folks are going to be able to get into a cordless vaporizer where the cost is not quite so prohibitive for folks that may have 1 or 2 colonies. Still makes a lot of sense because it's a tool you can actually use, and you don't have the excuse any longer. Well, I got to drag out the generator and then the extension cords, and by the way, I don't have any fuel, or the fuel's old, and it's just, there's no more excuses. It's a great tool to actually get out there and knock down mites. I want to encourage folks that if using OA is not part of your integrated pest management, I would highly encourage you to consider it, especially as we are approaching the winter solstice. I know we'll talk more about that as the winter goes on. We talked a lot about summer solstice and how important that is earlier in the year, but the winter solstice is a fantastic time to get in there and really just nuke mites. Whatever mites are left, just lay waste to them with an oxalic acid vaporizer. It's a perfect time to do that. Here shortly, as we hit winter solstice, every day from there on, we're gaining just a little bit of sunlight, little longer days as we build up towards spring. So it's a great time to knock mites down, keep everything clean. But anyways, it's a lot going on here. It's exciting. It's fun. We're working through it. But if you're doing the same thing, whatever it is in life, and you feel like you're just being drugged behind a salt truck constantly through the seasons, just that you're not alone. A lot of us are. We're just doing our best every single day to work through it. And I just would like to, on behalf of the Stream Team, wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas. And as always, want to remind you to be the lighthouse and be the change you want to see in this world. Next time, you'll see us on Bruce's Bees channel next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Stream Team on the Bruce's Bees channel. Who knows what we're going to talk about? Maybe it'll be Hive beetles for the holidays. Maybe it'll be the 2nd year Stream Team anniversary, Christmas kickoff, whatever it is. I want to also remind you that Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.